Hello, I'm Archibald Chesterfield III, and welcome to the program, fuckers. Hello, how are you? And today I want to talk about luxury wristwatch accidents. That's right, I'm not talking about watches you've accidentally bought. I'm talking about mishaps, disasters, fuck-ups, terrible things that have happened to watches you have owned. And I gotta tell you the truth there. I believe in really using your watches. There's no point owning a watch collection if you don't use the pieces. Case in point, the Prez. And I gotta tell you, I've had my share of mishaps. I've always try and be careful. I always try and be careful. And I tell you this now, fuckers. With a lot of watches, I had a Rolex Submariner. It was a steel no-date piece. This was years ago. And I was doing helping my dad move something. It was a barbecue. And I remember thinking, I should take it off. I thought, no, I'll just be careful. And I scraped it underneath on the clasp. Ooh. And then, another great mishap I had was, this was with one of my Pateks I owned. And I went to fill up the car with petrol, and I dented it right where the leather strap went in. And it was a weird thing, and actually I got my good friends at Vintage Watch Co. to fix that up for me. And it was just annoying. You think, I didn't even feel it happen. You know what I mean? And other mishaps I've had there. I tell you a mishap, an almost mishap. I went into the city. And I often take my Nikon D600 with me. And I was taking I like a bit of street photography, taking a few photos. I was wearing my gold Submariner. And I was walking across the road, which had markings, that white luminescent paint. And I had new shoes on. And I slipped. And I dropped the fucking camera. And thank God. I mean, I must have been so subconscious. The way I fell, I didn't fall on that hand. I mean, could you imagine falling on your gold sub? Oh. So I got out of it. I ripped my pants, and the camera was okay. You got to be so careful. You know what I mean? Sometimes you've just got to be so damn careful. But you're carrying a camera. You want to dress. I was dressed up. I was going to see someone I know, and you just stupidity. I'm always so careful with my stuff, but shit can happen. Shit certainly can happen. And I'd like to hear from the audience. What's the worst accident you've had with a luxury watch? Have you scratched it? Have you dropped it? Tell me the story. And everyone who's, it's one of these things. I was talking to a friend of mine. And you know how subconsciously I got an expensive watch on. I gotta be careful. Sure enough, that's the one you knock into the wall. And it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. My Reverso, I had it on my other wrist, and I opened this door and it slammed on it. Oh fuck! And it's got a slight little scratch there, but what do you say or do? You have a mishap like that. I kind of think, well, that's my watch. It doesn't really matter. You've just got to be so careful. Be more careful in future. But I've had a few. Everyone's had mishaps with their luxury watches. And, you know, particularly when you wear, I don't know what it is, it's Murphy's Law. When you're wearing a very precious one, you know, things can happen. It's just how life is. You know, life can be hard at times. So you got to be a bit careful. I remember, the worst damage I've ever seen. I lent this watch to this asshole who, I was trying to get a business going where I sold secondhand watches. I lent it to him, an Explorer 2, and the fucker scratched heavily into the bracelet. And I remember thinking, fuck, what's going on there? And what do you say or do? What do you say or do? It's just fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible when that happens. I got out of the business. The business is shit. The business model was crap. That was years ago. I tried that business venture. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Selling watches to pawn shops and shit. Absolute shit. The only thing more shittier is the cunts you're dealing with. They're absolute scum of the earth. And I'm glad to be out of that business, that's for sure. Absolutely glad to be out of that business. Absolute shitter of a business. But I mean, everyone has a few mishaps. You got to be careful, but when you use your stuff, mishaps can happen. Do you cotton ball it? What do you do? What do you do? And I'd like to talk to the audience. You know, that's why you wear a beater. You know, you wear a beater. But you've got to use your good stuff too. Otherwise, what's the point of it all? I'm Archibald Chesterfield III. Tell me what disasters you have had. See you later, fuckers.
We specialize here in pre-owned Rolex watches. Rolex watch is a very special timepiece, and we always do the servicing exactly as factory specifications. We buy a pre-owned piece and we put it into brand new condition. We have Rolex certified technicians working on that. We completely disassemble the piece. We adjust and polish and change every single part of the watch.
You have to have certified watchmakers that know what they're doing. If you have an expensive car, you're just not going to bring it to any mechanic that doesn't know what they're doing.
You spent $5,000, it's like if you put money in the safe deposit box. And 1 or 2 years from now, you will keep having your $5,000. We have to spend a lot of money to get all this equipment together, but makes me feel I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It's not a question of money, it's my passion.
Jewelers on time, simply the best.